boys and girls. It's Bored with Miss Reynolds, Better Off Reading Every Day. I've got some good books for you today, and they are called Alma and How She Got Her Name by Juanita Martinez Neal. That Book Woman by Heather Henson. Pictures by David Small. This Is My Book by Mick Inkpen. Leave Me Alone by Vera Bosgall. Now, boys and girls, there are quite a few books here, and I've been doing a few quickies, so I wanted to give you a nice long read that you could sit down with your cookies and your beverage and just completely enjoy. Quickies are nice. 1, 2, 3, less than 3 minutes, there's a book and it's done. But sometimes you just want to kind of like hang out by the fireplace and just listen to Miss Reynolds on Bored with Miss Reynolds on YouTube and Bored with Miss Reynolds on Instagram. And here I am. Alma and How She Got Her Name. Alma Sofia Esperanza, Jose Perna, Candela had a long name. Too long if you asked her. My name is so long, Daddy, it never fits, Alma said. Come here, he said. Let me tell you the story of your name. Then you decide if it fits. Sophia was your grandmother, he began. She loved books, poetry, jasmine flowers, and of course me. She was the one who taught me how to read. I love books and flowers, and you too, Daddy. I am Sophia. Esperanza was your great-grandmother. He continued. She hoped to travel, but never left the city where she was born. Her only son grew up to cross the 7 seas. Wherever her sailor son went, so did Esperanza's heart. The world is so big. I want to go see it, Daddy. You and me together. I am Esperanza. Jose was my father. Alma's daddy said. He was an artist with a big family, like many people had back then. Early every morning, he walked to the mountains and the plazas to paint everyday life. Sometimes I went along. Your grandfather taught me to see and love our people. I wake up early every morning and I draw a lot too, Daddy. This morning I drew a kitty cat for you, Daddy. I am Jose. Pura was your great aunt. She believed that spirits of our ancestors are always with us, watching over us. When you were born, she tied a red string around your wrist, a charm to keep you safe. Hello, Pura. It's me, Alma. Candela was your other grandmother. She always stood up for what was right. I am Candela. I love the story of my name. Now tell me about Alma, Daddy. Where does that come from? I picked the name Alma just for you. You are the first and the only Alma. You will make your own story. Alma Sofia Esperanza Jose Pura Candela. That's my name and it fits me just right. I am Alma and I have a story to tell. The end of Alma, how she got her name. And boys and girls, you do know my name is Debbie Reynolds, right? And I was named after the famous actress from Singing in the Rain, Debbie Reynolds. And my mom loved Nina Simone, so she gave me the second name of Simone. So I have two famous names, Debbie Reynolds and Nina Simone, but just Simone. And I love them absolutely both, just like Alma loves her names. The Book Woman. The Book Woman. My folks and me, we live way up as can get. So high we hardly sight a soul except hawks a winging in the sky and critters hid among the trees. My name is Cal, and I am not the first one, nor the least one either. But I am the oldest boy, and I can help Pap with the plowing, and I can fetch the sheep when they take a wonder. And I can bring the cow home too, come every time, which is right handy, seeing as how my sister Lark would keep her nose a twist the pages of a book. Daybreak to dusk dark, if Mama would allow, the readin'est child you ever did see. That's what Pap says. There she is up in the corner, the readinest girl. Not me, I was not born to sit so stony still, a staring at some chicken scratch. I do not fancy it one bit. When Lark plays teacher, the onlyest child, a jillion miles, back down the creek, and every lark can hardly spread her wings and fly. So now she aims to school us herself. But me, I am no scholar boy. That's why I am the first to hear the clickety clomp and spy the sorrel mare red as clay. I am the first to know the rider is no man at all, but a lady wearing breeches for all of the world to see. Course, we make the stranger kindly welcome, and she's friendly as can be. And after sips of sassy tea, she lays her saddlebag upon the table, and what spills out might just as well be gold. The way Lark's eyes shine, penny bright, the way her hands, they won't keep still, reaching out to grab a treasure. Now, what that lady brings is sure no treasure, not to me, but books, would you believe? A passel of books she packed clear up the mountainside. A hard day's ride and all for naught, I reckon, for if she aims to sell her wares, just like the tinker man who travels round with pots and pans and such. It's but a plain and simple fact. We have no greenbacks here, no shiny coins to spend, leastways not on dumb old books. Well, Pap, he takes one look at Lark and clears his throat. A trade, he says. A poke of berries for one book. My hands double fist behind my back. I yearn to speak, but darest. It is the very poke I picked for pie, not books. To my surprise, that lady shakes her head, real firm. She will not take a poke of berries, nor a mess of greens, nor anything Pap names to trade. These books are free as air. Not only that, why 2 weeks to the day she'll come again to swap these books for more. Now me, I do not care one boot for what that bookwoman has carried around, and it would not bother me at all if she forgot the way back to our door. But here she'll come, right through the rain and fog and cold. That horse of hers sure must be brave, I reckon. Come on, come on, a smile. The whole world turns white as Grandpop's beard. The wind, it shrieks like bobcats do, deep inside the dark of night. So here we sit, tucked around the fire, no thought to howdy do's this day. Why, even critters of the wild will keep ahead come snow like this. But, sakes alive, we hear a tap, tap, tap upon the window glass, and there she be, wrapped tip to toe. She makes her trade right through the crack to keep us folks from catching cold. And when Pap bids her stay the night, she only shakes her head. My horse will see me home, she says. I stand a spell to watch that book woman disappear. And thoughts, they go a swirling round inside my head, just like the whirly flakes outside our door. It's not the horse alone that's brave, I reckon, but the rider too. And all at once I yearn to know what makes that book woman risking catching cold or worse. I pick a book with words and pictures too. I hold it out. Teach me what it says. And Lark, she does not laugh or even tease, but makes a place, and quiet like we start to read. Pap says it's written in the signs, how long or short the winter stays. This year the signs they all foretold of deepest snow, of cold internal. And even though most days were tight as toes, pinched into bootin' shoes, I do not mind, a puzzlement I know, but be true. It's night on spring before the bookwoman can stop to visit a spell. And Mama makes a gift, the only precious thing she can, her recipe for berry pie, which is the best grub earthly. Not much I know, for all your trouble, Mama says, and then her voice goes low with pride, and for making two readers out of one. I duck my head and wait until the very last to speak my mind, which there was something I could gift you to. That bookwoman turned to look at me with big dark eyes. Come here, Cal, she says real gentle, and I come close. Read me something. I open up the book I'm holding, a new one brought this very day. Just chicken scratch I used to figure, but now I see what's truly there, and I read a little out. That's gift enough, she says, and smiles so big, it makes me smile right back. The end of That Bookwoman. I love the last page, where in the beginning he wasn't interested in reading, but at the end, there he is sitting with his book, reading. She made a reader out of him, and that was thanks enough, just like Miss Reynolds. This is my book. Stop, 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 said the book mouse. This is my book. But before anyone could stop him, the snapdragon swooned down, bit off the K and part of the B of book. This is my... Ooh. It is very naughty thing to do. Want to make sure the pages aren't sticking. You've got to do something, said the clockwork penguin. He's getting worse. The book mouse set the missing part of the B back in place and looked at the new word. Don't worry, he said. I have a plan. What I need is lots of those. He was pointing at the O's. I know where you can get O's, said the blink owl mysteriously. You can get them where the ghosts of Wally wolves live in the middle of Moonwood. But you'll have to be very brave and you'll have to hurry. It's happening soon, very soon. Look for the moon over the moonwood. Twist, two, twist, two, twist, two. You've got plenty of O's, said the blue bear. Can you hear some of those? But the blink owl had flown away. That night, under the low moon, they crept into the moonwood and waited. And before long, just as the blink owl had said, the O's began to arrive. Oh, oh, they went, whispering quietly through the trees. O's, 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 O's. The O's grew louder, oh, 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 and then louder still, wailing and howling through the trees. Oh, 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 we don't look like this, said the little horse, and everyone galloped out of the moonwood, leaving the book mouse all alone. The book mouse crept further into the wood. You don't frighten me, he cried. Is that the best you can do? The moonwood felt silent. And then suddenly, louder than any sound that had ever been heard in the moonwood before, there came the most awful rumbling. Oh! Quick as a flash, the book mouse grabbed all the O's and ran as fast as he could out of the moonwood. Give us back our O's, cried the ghost of the Wally wolves. And because he was a very considerate mouse, the book mouse tossed the smallest one back to them. Oh, said the ghost of the Wally wolves. It was all they could say. On Tuesday, the book mouse set everything in their place and went off to find the snapdragon. He was having his tea. Now, this is your last warning, snapdragon, said the book mouse. The words don't make any sense if you keep eating the letters. It's got to stop. The snapdragon bit a chunk out of the P. It always eat my peas, he says. I always eat my peas. Then he rose high into the air, sucking up all the little dots over the eyes and blowing them straight at the book mouse. You can't tell me what to do. The book mouse scampered away as fast as he could, with the snapdragon snapping at his little pink tail. As soon as he reached the edge of the page, he squeaking loudly, squeak, squeak, squeaked. And when they heard the book mouse squeak, everyone who lived at the edge of Moonwood took a deep breath and shouted, and perhaps it would help if you joined in too. Boo! The snapdragon went spinning through the air. He bounced off the moon. He made a terrible mess. Dragon scales and O's everywhere. He fell back down to earth. Woo! And there he lay in the middle, feeling very sorry for himself. I won't do it again, he sniffled. The book mouse made the snapdragon return the O's to the ghosts of the Wally wolves in the Moonwood. Thank you. And because he was really sorry and not just pretending, the snapdragon brought back the K's he had stolen and put it back where it belonged. B.O.R.E.D. Right at the end of the B.O.R.E.D. book. Right at the end of the book. And that is the end of This Is My Book. A very clever use of letters, boys and girls. Now we have Leave Me Alone. Once there was an old woman. She lived in a small village in a small house. With a very big family. Winter was coming. That meant she had some very important knitting to do, but it wasn't getting done. Her grandchildren were very curious about her knitting. Were you supposed to hit the ball with a stick? Could you eat it? Could you make your brother eat it? Why did the ball get smaller and smaller as you chased it? The old woman was at the end of her rope. So she made her bed as neatly as she could. She swept the floorboards until they more or less shone. She drank tea from her. She packed up her things in a big sack, and as she left, she shouted back. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. The old woman walked through the deep, dark forest. She made a fire so that she could see what she was doing. Then she sat down and began to knit. The bear family was very curious about the light from her fire and about what she might taste like. Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But they didn't listen because bears don't speak English. So she picked up her sack and left. The old woman climbed up the mountainside. It was cold, so she found a small sheltered place. Then she sat down and began to knit. The mountain goats were excited to have a visitor, especially one that brought snacks. "Leave me alone," the old woman shouted, but the goats were too busy fighting over the red ones, which they all agreed were the best. So she picked up her sack and she left. The old woman climbed higher and higher up the mountain. She reached to the top and climbed onto the moon. She found a rock that was shaped like a chair. She sat down and began to knit. The little green moon men had never seen a woman before, old or otherwise. They examined her with handheld scanners that went beep, beep, beep bop, beep bop, beep bop. "Leave me alone," the old woman shouted, but the little green moon men couldn't hear her because they didn't have any ears. So she picked up her sack and left through the wormhole. The void on the other side of the wormhole was very dark and very, very quiet. She was absolutely, completely, utterly alone. It was perfect. Soon she had no more yarn and 30 little sweaters, and she was alone. So she put the 30 sweaters into her big sack. She swept the void until it was nice, matte black. She had a cup of tea. Then she picked up her sack and left through another wormhole. When she came out on the other side, everything was right where she left it. And she didn't say a word. The end of Leave Me Alone. Boys and girls, it is Miss Reynolds with B.O.R.E.D, Better Off Reading Every Day. It has been my pleasure to bring these 4 books to you that I do not own the rights to, but I love storytelling magic. And the magic of today's story is we read for over 30 minutes 4 really, really good books. Sometimes we read a quick book, sometimes we read a couple of books, but whatever we're doing, we're bored. We're bored with Miss Reynolds. Better Off Reading Every Day. And my magic is bringing the magic of reading all these books to you. It's what I absolutely love to do. And thank you for allowing me to come into your homes on Board with Miss Reynolds on YouTube and Board with Miss Reynolds on Instagram. No reading is ever complete without our board twirl. Just twirling around and shaking all the sillies out. Because we've been sitting on our bums for more than 35 minutes reading. And we need to get up and just stretch it out. Stretch it out. And then bring it in for a great big hug filled with love. I'll see you again really, really soon. Bye, boys and girls. I love, 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 love. being bored, 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 bored with you, you. That's it. That's all I got.